What happens when a group of paranormal investigators start a conversation? You get Ghost to the Coast Paranormal, the podcast. Tales of the dead, the bizarre, and all things supernatural. Join us now as we discuss the Flatwoods Monster. Ooh. Hi, and welcome back to Ghost of the Coast Paranormal, the podcast. I'm Erin.
I'm Linnea.
And we are missing Deborah again. Deborah,
I miss her.
we do. Deborah, we love you and we miss you. And we are excited to have you back soon. It's been a month, hasn't it? It's
Yeah.
only like halfway through, not even halfway through the month, and it's been a month.
We had her briefly for the group one.
Briefly for the group one, yeah.
Yeah.
But it has been a month for everybody. I think everybody's getting ready for the holidays and lots of stuff's come up, but yeah. But tonight we are talking about the Flatwoods Monster. Have you ever heard of this guy?
I have not. This was something completely new to me.
Well, it's interesting. Like, it's an interesting little creature, cryptid, whatever. But the interesting part is, I think, based off the top of my head, I think it's only been encountered the one time.
Yeah, stuff was kind of scarce.
Yeah.
I did the TikTok thing. I looked on
Yeah.
Facebook for a little bit. I did some Googling. I mean,
Yeah.
for a one-time event though, they really made it last their money with gift shops and whatnot.
Right. Right. Yeah, they definitely have taken it on, and they're like, "Yeah, no, this is our monster and this is what we're going with." But
That's nothing wrong with it.
yeah, I mean, we need a cryptid here so that we can open up stores and
Let's talk about that privately.
yeah. Oh gosh. So, but yeah, so I feel like, what's funny is I feel like we haven't done like because we've been so busy with, we had our Halloween special, and then we had
Yeah.
our listener submission, and then we had our first birthday celebration with everybody. I feel like we haven't done like a
Regular episode.
regular episode in a while, and it feels weird,
It
but
does, but we've had some fun stuff.
we
I
have
like
had a lot
the
of fun
listener
stuff.
submission. I like the group one. So good
Yeah.
time, good times.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But we're going to get back into our regularly scheduled program tonight. And for our listeners out there, we, first of all, Deborah said that she misses each and every one of you. So she said to tell y'all that she misses you and that she's sorry she couldn't be on tonight. But yeah, so, and then also in December, so coming up real soon, we're gonna have some good episodes for you guys, like some good creepy. Woo.
My next one's not creepy, but I'm excited for it.
What's your next one?
Simpsons.
Oh yeah, that's right. God, I feel like, see, that's the thing. I feel like we've been wanting, like we've been out of our regular episodes, and I was like, wait, didn't last month you mention The Simpsons? So that
I'm
that one's gonna be really, really good. I'm excited for that one.
excited for it. My husband
Um,
even asked me when I was doing that one. I said, "Oh, now you're gonna listen."
yeah. So yeah, the Flatwoods Monster. Let's just dive right into it. So this comes from Wikipedia, just a standard little outline. And we might see Blanche, of course, now that I'm talking. She's like, "Hey, pet me, love me, let's go outside." Um, so the Flatwoods Monster, also known as the Braxton County Monster, Braxy, or the Phantom of Flatwoods. Um, This comes from West Virginia folklore. This is a creature reported to have been sighted in the town of Flatwoods in Braxton County, West Virginia, on September 12th, 1952, after a bright light crossed the night sky. Over 50 years later, investigators suggest that the light was a meteor and the creature was a barn owl perched in a tree with shadows making it appear to be a large humanoid. I mean, to be fair, have you seen a picture of it?
I have.
All right, I'm going to add a picture right here for you guys. Uh it is I don't based on the drawings, this is just my initial like thought. Based on the drawings, I don't know how they get a barn. I mean,
It does
barn
not look like
owls,
an owl to me.
no, barn owls aren't that tall, first of all. But I mean, this thing looks like, okay, so standing
It looks like the
right,
Queen of Spades instead of the Queen of Hearts.
it does. But like, it's got a little thing standing next to a human, and the average human is what, 5'9", 5'6", 5'7". So this thing is like a whole nother like 3 or 4 feet on top of that.
Are you looking at the poster that says free poster with any purchase, which shows the little man standing next to it?
Yes, but I'm looking at the one on Wikipedia.
Okay.
But I mean, it's got like easily another
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 feet on it.
Yeah.
And it's big, it's huge. So, like I said, I'll post a picture right here.
And it's funny because it shows a picture of the owl at the bottom, and I mean, it looks nothing like it.
Definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, an owl is only, I mean, unless it's that daggum like creepy harpy eagle. Have you heard of those?
Harpy eagle? I don't think so.
Yeah, those things look
Oh wait, yes, I
creepy.
have. I think
Those
we
things
had a
are
group chat
huge.
about this one day.
Yeah, those things are humongous.
Yeah.
All right. So here's a little bit of the history of the first encounter, the only encounter.
All right, give it to me.
And there is reason why I selected this one. I am kind of ready to enter into an extraterrestrial phase of my episodes.
Okay. Okay.
So,
Well, that's interesting because I was going to ask you, based on what I was reading, it seems like it's kind of split. Do you think this counts as a cryptid episode or an alien episode?
I don't know. I feel I lean more towards alien.
Okay.
So, but let's get into some history and then I might sway. I sway.
Yeah, I'm not going to form an opinion until you're all done.
Yeah. So, again, from Wikipedia, the history goes as follows. At around 7:15 on September 12th, 1952, two brothers, Edward and Fred May, and their friend Tommy Heyer, said that they saw a bright object cross the sky and land on the property of a local farmer, G. Bailey Fisher. The boys went to the home of Kathleen May, where they told their story. They May, accompanied by the three boys, um, local children Neil Nunley and Ronnie Shaver, and West Virginia National Guardsman Eugene Lemon. So we went from the three boys seeing this to them
Hmm.
telling their mom, and then their mom going with them, and then two other children and a National Guardsman. They went to the Fisher farm in an effort to locate whatever it was that the boys had said that they had seen. The group reached the top of the hill where Nunley, which is one of the children, said that they saw a pulsing red light. Lemon said he aimed a flashlight in the direction of the light and momentarily saw a tall, man-like figure with a round face surrounded by a pointed hood shape.
Well, and it's red face, and an owl most certainly does not have a red face.
No, even reflected in the light, it's
Right.
not red face.
So,
Although,
did they say how old these boys were? What were they doing in the woods at night? And were they drinking by chance?
Well, it was the 50s. So that was back in the times of don't have to come home until the street
Street lights
lights
on.
come on, but also it was in West Virginia, so they were outside at all hours, right? So descriptions varied. Um, in an article for Fate magazine based on his tape recorded interviews, UFO writer Gary Barker described the figure as approximately 10 feet tall with a round, blood red face, a large pointed hood like shape around the face, eye like shapes which emitted greenish orange light, and dark black or green body. Anyway, like that's not an owl.
No, that is not an owl.
I mean, what other creatures do we know that are green or black
Hmm.
that have weird,
I wonder.
weird eyes and weird faces? May described the figure as having small claw-like hands, clothing, clothing like folds, and a head that resembled the Ace of Spades. According to the story,
It doesn't match an owl, but it also doesn't match what we are commonly told about aliens either.
right.
Yet.
Well, let me tell you, I have learned in the past couple years, I have learned that there's more. Like the common alien that we think of is like the Greys,
Right.
but I have learned that there's so many other species.
Really? Okay.
Yes, there's a lot more species than just the Greys or the
Okay.
little green dudes. I think that's just I think why that one is so popularized. It's just the easiest to like wrap our heads around.
Right, right.
Yeah. I mean, it's this little like oval shaped head with like
One image that we've seen over and over and over.
right. Um so according to the story, when the figure made a hissing sound and glided toward the group, Lemon screamed and dropped his flashlight, causing the group to run away. So this is that's Eugene Lemon, the National Guardsman. So he saw it and he bolted. He said, "Oh no, I'm out of here." I would probably run too if I saw it. I'm not gonna
Yep, for
lie.
sure.
Um, and then I'd get like halfway down the street and I'd be like, "Oh no, what was that? Let's go back. Let's go see if it's still there."
Wait, we
Um,
gotta get some equipment. What can we use?
what do we use to talk to aliens?
I don't know, but I'm sure we're gonna figure it out.
Eventually, right?
We can try the rods and maybe a pendulum, see if we can get some communication going in any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd have to think for the intelligence that you hear that they have, they could probably even communicate on the spirit box.
Do
I
you
mean, it's just
think
one of the
I've actually seen some people do spirit box and like go to like reach out to aliens or
Hmm,
extraterrestrial beings and uh they actually come through. But I've heard that many different things that they can communicate telepathically and you know or that they can emulate match your language or
right.
however. So I don't know.
Interesting.
I won't know until I come across one.
We had a spirit box on the beach one night.
Oh my god, let's do it. That would be the coolest thing. And you know what's funny is I brought my spirit box to the beach the one night that Christy, Chris, and Craig
I
and
need to
I
whip it out.
I didn't because I didn't want to get sand in it because it was
Mhm,
kind of like a windy evening. There was a
makes sense.
storm rolling in. The group said that they had smelled a pungent mist, and some later said that they were nauseated. The local sheriff and deputy had been investigating reports of a crashed aircraft in the area. They searched the site of the reported monster, but saw, heard, and smelled nothing. According to Barker's account, the next day, A. Lee Stewart Jr. of the Braxton Democrat claimed to have discovered skid marks in the field and an odd gummy deposit. which were subsequently attributed by by UFO enthusiast groups as evidence of a saucer landing. So it sounds to me that multiple people saw this thing in the sky.
Right.
And so, because clearly multiple people were calling in and said, hey, you need to go check this out. But only one person, or excuse me, only like, was it 5 people, 6 people, 3 boys, 2 kids, a mom, and so 6 people.
So that's weird that a story went so big, can hit national news, keep on going since the 50s to now that they still have a store, but there's no real like proof or evidence besides
Right.
the people that. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy.
Isn't it? I mean, and it is. They still, like, to this day, they are all, I mean,
I mean, you don't hear a lot of people seeing the Jersey Devil, but there's a lot more stories and, people claiming
sightings,
things.
yeah.
And
Like, I even went into Reddit while researching this, and
yeah.
there is nothing.
No, apparently it's like a video game or something because that's all I could find. Like, and I'm
Yeah.
like encounters with the Flatwood Monsters, and it's like, and I also like playing Zelda. I'm like, okay, this is not, this
Yeah,
is not what I'm looking
yeah,
for.
because I think that's what I found, is a lot of people were saying that it looks like some kind of, like, boss battle or something from Fallout.
Yeah,
And it's just wild to me that, like, so many only 6 people saw it, but a lot of people saw the light. But then also, like, to say that it left skid marks, I don't know. Like, I don't necessarily, like, believe in this particular alien creature,
right.
but I definitely believe in aliens. So the thought of this is interesting to me, but the fact, going back, that it was only spotted the one time. Well, and
Right.
maybe they were like, it could have been like, I don't know if you've ever watched the TV show American Dad, which is, it's like a
I have, but I don't
yeah,
really.
yeah. So, like, they have an alien in the show, and it turns out that the alien is not there for research. Like, the alien's literally just there because they got banished from their
Right, right.
home planet. So what if the reason that we haven't seen or had more experiences is that this particular alien was banished from their their planet or galaxy or whatever, and they were like, you know what, you're gonna go to Earth and you're gonna hang out there. But in reality, like, he crash landed, and then he's like, oh, humans are scary, let me run away. He's probably, like, living in a cave somewhere in West Virginia.
Or maybe there has been other encounters, and it's one of those ones that know how to, like in Men in Black, where they choo, you didn't see nothing, choo, you
Oh,
forgot, choo, never here. So as
that
many
would
times as it gets caught, if it can put the hooju, voodoo, whatever on you that you don't remember.
ooh. Ooh. What if that's an episode too, the Men in Black.
Okay,
That's
okay,
a good one. So here's some explanations as to what it might be.
okay.
After investigating the case in 2000, Joe Nickel of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry
How do I
concluded that
join that?
right concluded that the bright light in the sky reported by the witnesses on September 12th was most likely a meteor. Right. Most likely. um that the pulsating red light was likely an aircraft navigation or hazard beacon, and that the creature described by the witnesses closely resembled an owl.
I still don't get that. It does not. Where are you pulling this from?
Yeah, I don't see that. But here's the thing too, like, okay, it was in the 50s, right?
Hmm.
Were people flying at night in the 50s?
I don't know.
I mean, let us know if you were around in the 50s. Were you flying at night?
It was during the mid to late 1950s that airlines and airports around the world started becoming more futuristic and offered intercontinental flights that took only hours instead of days. Accommodating passengers at most hours a day, including night, became a priority for booming airlines. So that is around the time.
So it could have been a plane.
Yeah, but
But
a
plane
plane
lights
is a
don't
lot higher.
they're a lot
And
higher and they don't pulsate. Like it's
yeah,
just a flash.
it doesn't make sense to me.
Like when I think of pulsating, I think of like wow, wow, wow,
Right.
wow. But like when a plane is flying over and it flashes, it's like
Yeah, it's not the same.
no. Look, our listeners are getting some ASMR tonight with my um so another Nichols suggested that the witnesses' perceptions were distorted by their heightened state of anxiety. And his conclusions are shared by a number of other investigators, including those of the Air Force. Because remember, also during that time, right, it was like only a few years earlier that the Roswell event happened. And then, so I mean, they were all about hiding the stuff back then. Now it's like you go to Google and like, yep, aliens are real.
Yep.
The night of the September 12th sighting, a meteor had been observed across 3 states: Maryland, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. And according to Nickel, 3 flashing red aircraft beacons were also visible from the area of the sighting, which could account for the descriptions of the pulsating light and red tint on the face of the monster.
But what about the forest ranger or whatever seeing a 10-foot tall man?
Right.
What's the
But also, like, aircraft beacons, like, I'm assuming that's the red light that's on the plane, right?
right?
Like, that's what I would think. But how would that show a red tint on this monster's face?
So the thought is a red light from the sky reflected off of an owl, and there was some confusion there. Like, okay. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So he concluded that the shape, movement, and sounds reported by witnesses were also consistent with the silhouette, flight pattern, and call of a startled barn owl perched on a tree limb, leading researchers to conclude that the foliage beneath the owl may have created the illusion of the lower portions of the creature, described as being a pleated green skirt.
Hmm.
Um, Researchers also concluded that the witness's inability to agree on whether the creature had arms, combined with May's reporting of it having small claw-like hands which extended out front, also matched the description of a barn owl with its talons gripping a tree branch. So
You can't mix up hands for feet. If the owl's holding the branch with its feet, then it's not extending any claws anywhere to see little
yeah,
hands, claw-like hands moving around.
right. So yeah, that it's just a very comical, like they're trying to explain it away as very comical.
I mean, I get it though. I
Yeah,
get what they're
I
doing.
mean they're going through their whole Rolodex. They're like arms could be claws, could be talons. According to skeptic Ryan Haupt, even though local boy Max Lockhart admitted that he had driven around the site hoping to see something in his Chevy truck, paranormal investigators concluded that the tracks, oily residue, and a bits of rubbery substance might have been left by the creature and not the truck. Hall explains nausea reported by some of the witnesses as a symptom of consistent, as a symptom consistent with hysteria and
Oh,
overexertion.
Lord.
But see, I don't think
A group of
seeing
people are not getting sick because they think they saw a monster.
right, like, okay, so, like, I've seen meteors, right? First of all, they I don't think I've ever seen a red one. Like, I've seen, like, green hues, but I don't think I've ever seen a red one. But then second, like, I've never seen one and been like, "Oh my god, what is that? I gotta go find it."
Oh, what is that smell? What's
Yeah,
happening? Oh my
like,
god, where'd that rubbery stuff come from?
and I've seen one before, and I was like, and I remember because I was in high school, but I saw one, and it was like bright green, and I was like, oh my god, that one landed really close, but I never once was like in a fit of hysteria.
I don't think I've ever seen one.
A meteor,
Mm-mm.
really? Next meteor shower, you gotta go watch it.
Well, 'cause in Pennsylvania, we had so many trees and stuff, like, you
Yeah.
couldn't really see the stars.
Yeah, the meteor shower here when we had one back in was it August, July or August? It was very cloudy. That it was a
Mm,
storm rolled in, but there was some weird lights and stuff going off the coast. But I think the rubbery substance. I mean, you're in the 50s. You got an old Chevy pickup truck, right?
right,
I think that was from this dude going out there and searching for.
right.
He
Now they're
said
just
he,
trying to find stuff to add to the story.
yeah,
Oh, but maybe you know this. But look at
yeah.
this. I still wanna know if those kids were drinking.
I don't even know how old they were.
Yeah, I
Let
know, it
me.
doesn't say, right?
It just says six. Okay, so this next one says like
Let me look at this.
the title is in 1952, the Flatwoods Monster terrified six kids, a mom, a dog, and the nation. Dun, dun,
So it
dun.
started with 2 kids. Oh, wait. Um, there's a newspaper article, Mrs.
Oh,
something day.
the
I see something
boys.
about a 19-year-old,
So this
a
says
17-year-old member.
the boys age uh the six boys age 10 to 17.
Yeah, the National Guard was a 17-year-old, FYI. It wasn't a man. The National Guard was 17 years old. All right, this story's starting to change a little bit. We got a bunch of teenagers that were probably drinking in the 50s.
Probably 10-year-olds out there like my
Oh my
mama said I
lord.
could drink a beer.
How do I make this news article bigger?
Oh gosh. All right. So this comes from history.com. Um and one of the quotes is okay, so um
This is the in 1952, the Flatwoods Monster, that article.
yeah.
We have all the same articles.
Yeah, so yeah, because there's really not a whole lot on it. But yeah, this says that it scared plenty of people back then, including the eyewitnesses, six boys aged 10 to 17, a dog, and a mom. And it says, quote, one of the boys peed his pants, said John Gibson, a high school freshman at the time who knew all of the kids. Their dog, Ricky, ran with his tail between his legs. Um, so,
See, now I trust the dog more than I trust them. What was the dog running from? With his tail between his
exactly.
legs. That's what I want to know.
Exactly. And I mean, like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I mean, I believe that if you see something, I believe you saw what you say you saw. Now, will it be exactly that? I don't know. Because everybody's mind has, everybody is your mind can play tricks on you. Do I believe that it was 10 feet tall? Not necessarily. Do I
Right.
believe that it
Scared
was
boy.
a do I believe it was an owl? Absolutely not. But I don't necessarily think it was 10 feet tall.
Right. Well, maybe 10 feet in a tree.
Maybe. Was it in a tree though?
Maybe they just saw the owl's eyes.
But why would it be red?
A reflection from something else going on.
This is turning into an episode of why.
I just want to know how this became like a national thing.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine now if got a story from a group of 10 to 17-year-olds? They'd laugh them right out of here. It wouldn't become a national story. It'd be like, yeah, okay, prove it first. What?
Well, but here's the thing is um th- like kids back then versus now. Back then, everybody was pretty open. Like kids would be like, "Oh yeah, I saw that." Kids now, they're like, "I don't want my friends to think I'm crazy." So no, I didn't see nothing. But the funny thing is so the
Yeah, but
encounter,
everybody wants their 5 minutes of fame now. So
right? But do you think a 17-year-old in high school would be like, "Yes, I saw this alien," and then just like, or would they want their 5 minutes on like their TikTok
dude, this
video
is
going?
West Virginia. We're talking out in the woods with nothing to do. You got a bunch of really bored teenage boys, is what you got. Now you got some little exciting going on. They're getting dogs, they're getting moms, everybody's going out. Now it's like a game of manhunt.
They're like, yeah, let's go
This
find
is
this
the most
man.
exciting thing that's happened to them their entire lives.
Probably, you're probably right.
Well,
They
or not.
they probably, if they're still, well, they should still be alive. If they're still alive, they're probably still talking about it
I'm sure.
because they're what in their 70s now, 70s, early 80s. Yeah, so they're probably still talking about it. Um,
Blanche.
did you hear her? Look, she's in there laying down and she's like staring at me. She's like, "Mom."
You know,
Um,
everybody.
so the encounter made the local and national news, scaring a wider a wider swath is from history .com, a wider swath of people. Then it prompted the U.S. Air Force UFO inquiry, part of a project called Project Blue Book that dispatched a handful of investigators around the country to look into such claims.
Is that going to be an episode you do? Project
The
Blue Book?
maybe, but here's the thing: like, obviously, the Air Force felt the need to investigate it, right? Like, if it was just an owl, if it was just a hoax or whatever,
Well, I wonder at that time how many actual reports they would get of something like that. And again, like you said, this is 1952. They have all the hype of Roswell going on from 1947. So reports back then might have been taken a lot more serious just because it was so close to the whole Roswell thing.
yeah. But nowadays, they probably get like a million phone calls a day. They're like,
Hmm.
"Hey, I saw this thing and it crashed, and I don't know what it is. Can you send?" And they probably don't
Well,
even
and did you
know.
click? So when she puts the show notes in, you'll see on the history.com, there's this read more interactive map UFO sightings taken seriously by the US government. There's not very many that they're taken serious. For as many as, like you're saying, they call how many calls they get a day. Click on
Yeah.
that map. They're not. Now, we read the whole article where it said that Myrtle Beach was a hotspot. We're not even on this map.
Which is the craziest thing. So, okay, so they get a lot. So Washington D.C., which makes sense. Uh, Flatwoods. So, okay, Flatwoods is on here, but how many sightings do they get?
It's probably just that one.
Like,
It is. Yeah, the green monster on the hill.
so clearly this just hasn't been updated in a while.
Hmm.
I wonder how accurate this map would be though. Y'all check out the map. Let us know what you think. But they have them all over the world. They have one in North Korea, and then they have one in England. They have two in England. I don't know. But why investigate it if it's nothing? That's my thing. Why investigate? And also, why did the government now choose to say, you know what, aliens are real or UFOs are real?
You know why.
I mean,
Because
that's
this
yeah.
hand's doing one thing and that hand's doing the other, and they want us to look at this hand right now because
All
there's something
right.
worse happening over there.
Right. And I like how they worded it. They worded it, they never once confirmed that aliens were real. They say UFOs are real. But
Well, sure, sure.
I mean, a UFO can be, I don't know what that
Anything
I don't know
between
what that
nature and a
plane
frisbee.
is. Yeah, like I don't know what plane that is up there. That's a
Yep.
UFO. But anyway,
Yeah, but
I
as you know from the Vatican's one, it says that there's proof of aliens in the
conehead
archives in the Vatican.
conehead shapes. Was that the Vatican or was that something else? Oh,
Vatican, you know, it says they have records in the archives.
yeah. So it became a local legend, a southern spook story according to history. Um, defined the tiny village of less than 300 people for more than 6 decades. To this day, tourists come out of their way to Flatwoods, secluded in the low timbered Appalachian hills of central West Virginia. You can visit the Monster Museum and buy t-shirts. I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Um,
Yeah, this is
oh,
a weird one.
it is a very weird one. I don't think it's an owl. 100% not going with an owl. Um, so I think so. This is saying something. It says an era of bomb scares and demagogues. Um, Americans were frightened in 1952 um, by atomic bombs and what seemed like a new world made by mad scientists. Even Life magazine, probably the most popular publication in the nation at the time, had just a had just a few months earlier published a seemingly credible trend of the story about flying saucers.
And that's why they were looking into it because it was all the hype at that time.
When was the what was it? The Battle of Los Angeles?
1942?
Okay, so I mean, the whole Sputnik thing and everything was still very new. I mean, it had only been what 10 years at this point, right? Well, 20 years. I don't know. It's just crazy to me. Like, um, and that's another thing. What the heck was that? Did they ever come about what that was?
I'm not even that familiar with that.
Uh, um, so there's actually also a song that was released called "The Being" by Argyle Goolsby, which is about the Flatwoods Monster.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's just a weird, okay, it's just a weird thing. So, and it's crazy because there really isn't, there's only the one encounter. But, I mean, I would probably like crap my pants and run away if I saw this thing crash.
Well, it said the one boy peed his pants.
Yeah. But okay, did they actually see this light crash or did they just say, "Oh, it must be going over there. Let's go over there." I mean, there's a lot of questions behind this thing. So, if you guys are still alive and listening to us, let us know what you actually encountered that night. Because
I wonder if there are any like like if anybody's ever gone back after 5, 10, X amount of years and interviewed any of these people.
and see if their story is still the same. So this says
Yeah.
some of the members, this comes from braxtonwestvirginia.org. It says some of the members of the group suffered throat irritation, vomiting, and nausea that persisted for days. These symptoms were passed off as side effects of hysteria, but it's worth noting that these are also telltale signs of exposure to mustard gas.
So now we think there was mustard gas.
That's what the BraxtonWestVirginia.org website says.
And where would
So,
mustard gas be coming from?
I don't know. I mean, it was the 50s. Maybe they walked into a military training op.
Yeah, I think the story would have went a little differently if they were somewhere they weren't supposed to be where there was mustard gas.
Well, not only that, but like I was thinking, like, because you hear these stories of people getting too close to supposed UFO crashes, right?
Right.
And or even think about the the Black Eyed Kids,
Right.
right? What if these crashes or these otherworldly beings give off, I mean, we know that there's radiation in space. So what if these things are coming from space and they're giving off radiation? So like if you get close enough to the crash site or whatever, what if you're experiencing some radiation, like some low
So
grade?
moving forward to the 10 billion reports we've had since then, have you ever heard of anything that was kind of like that? Like anybody got?
Um, I want to say I have, but I can't remember the exact reference. Um, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I want to say I have, and it was, oh, what was it? I think it was in reference to the was it the skiing team in Russia that was all killed? Um, we'll talk about that one in another episode. But there was a team that went out in Russia, and essentially all of them died within I don't even remember, like they got caught in a snowstorm or something, and the way they died, it was just some of them had burns on them, some of them didn't, but they were all like their tents had been like slashed and stuff. Like this was in the 50s, I think, the 50s or 60s. And so the way some of the trees had like blown over,
Right.
and the there was some radiation coming off of those trees, I believe is what it was. So there's a couple different theories with that one. But that's a whole episode on itself, I think.
Right.
But I don't know. It's just weird. It's just a weird little monster, dude. Um,
So let me ask. So how did you even find out about this one?
I had found out about this one. I think I was watching a YouTube video, and I think it was like One Hit Wonder cryptids or something like that. But
Okay.
so according to, because West Virginia, Braxton, West Virginia, they want to keep the legacy going.
Yeah.
So according to BraxtonWestVirginia.org, quote, another sighting of a creature similar in description to the Flatwoods Monster was reported by Audra Harper not long before the infamous sighting on Fisher's Farm. Harper claims to have seen the monster while walking through the woods near her home, near the town of Heaters. Heaters is about 5 miles north of Flatwoods. Harper and her friend were walking to a nearby store. The road leading out of the property was implaceable, and rutted, so they were taking a shortcut through the forest instead of walking the road, which would have increased their trip significantly. About a half a mile into their trip, they noticed a ball of fire on one of the hills that they were passing. Harper dismissed it, assuming that one of the neighbors was fox chasing.
Right.
When she glanced back, she saw something unbelievable. The fire had vanished, and in its place stood a tall, dark silhouette of a man-shaped figure. Terrified, Harper and her friend ran, escaping among the rocks and boulders strewn on the hillside. The day after the day after September 12th, in Flatwoods, another strange sighting occurred near Strange Creek, about 20 miles south of Flatwoods. So the first sighting was 5 miles north. So it seems to make its way down.
Well, hold on. So I think let me look at this other article. So I found more on it, right, on a website called pawilds.com.
Uh-huh.
So this is titled Ghost of the PA Wilds, the Flatwoods Monster Visits Elk Country.
Hmm.
So maybe they do say, let's see. Let me see if I can find where they're saying maybe it makes its way into Pennsylvania.
So this says it's going south. So right now we're in Strange Creek. So 20
Oh,
miles south.
PA is trying to claim it.
What? So that's
Hold on.
saying
Hang on. Yeah.
it's
So let's see. So I'm cutting a couple paragraphs in. Again, this is pawilds.com. The Bucktail Scenic Byway runs up along the Susquehanna River, and in northern Clinton County, it's along the border between Dark Skies Landscape and Elk Country Landscape of the PA Wilds. And right in that spot is where people in the PA Wilds encountered the Flatwoods Monster, or at least the meteorite that may have carried him. And we saw it before anyone in West Virginia did.
they're like, no, listen.
Yeah. The headline hit the front page of the Renovo Daily Record on September 15th, 1952. So what was the other date?
September 12th, 59, I believe it was.
59 or 52 also? I thought it was 52.
52. So what?
So this is an article from September 15th. It says Drury's Run folks spot flying saucer. Drury's Run is a tributary of the Susquehanna River in northern Clinton County. Several people saw an object pass over going from roughly northeast to southeast, the exact course the meteorite in West Virginia would have taken. A group of Drury's Run people saw a flying saucer pass over, the article said. One of the witnesses to the strange object in the sky, Mrs. Ernest C. Crosley, said it was silver, colored just like a star, and appeared to be just the size of a pie pan. At about 6:30 p.m., a crowd of about 20 people saw the object pass over. In 1952, UFO sightings were not exactly unusual in Clinton County. Piper Aviation had some classified government designs and were testing them, which often caused UFO reports. But this one didn't fit the usual description. A man named Bill Hritzko saw it first, sitting on a nearby porch with some friends. A crowd at the Green Lantern Tavern, surprise, surprise, we have some drinks, gathered outside to watch the object fly over, right beside today's Elk Scenic Drive. Crossley reported that they couldn't tell whether it was spinning or not, and a man named Harry Stout said he thought he heard it making a noise, but nobody else reported sounds. This was almost an hour before a bright, unidentified object crashed down in West Virginia, and witnesses saw the Flatwood Monster emerge from the trees nearby. So whatever this thing was with red, it wasn't just there. They saw it. People saw this thing coming from Pennsylvania.
So they saw it first, but
They didn't see the monster. They saw the flashing lights and something.
Okay, so they saw the UFO first.
They
So
saw the UFO.
they don't get to claim it.
Well, I didn't finish reading. Let's see, maybe let's say. See if there's anything. West Virginia witnesses saw the Flatwood Monster emerge from the trees nearby. Police were notified, and the publisher of the local newspaper went out to investigate, but the monster was never found. This puts the Flatwoods Monster geographically in exactly the same area as some of our local cryptids like the G-Woggle and the Susquehanna seal. All right,
Huh.
we got some other ones we might have to look up. So I'd be curious. Hang on, let me write those down so we can look and see if anything looks anything like.
The Susquehanna seal.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So here's a question for you. Do you think that, because we have cryptids everywhere, we have sightings everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
there's some locations that are more prominent than others, where for example, the Susquehanna seal, the gigolo, and the
Gigolo.
and the Flatwoods Monster, right? So they're
Uh-huh.
all like right there. So do you think that those locations that have like multiple sightings of these cryptids, of like multiple cryptids, do you think that they are like that particular location is like somewhat of like a cryptid portal, where like a hot spot, like
Huh. I don't know that thought. I didn't even think of that being a thing.
I
I mean, like
mean
we talk about paranormal hotspots, whatever, but I've never.
I mean, is there like I wonder if there's like a certain energy that draws these cryptids in, and they're like, you know what? We're gonna go to Braxton, West Virginia. You know, we got the Mothman in West Virginia. We got there's another one in West Virginia. There's several in West Virginia, but like, because I mean, like, is there like a neon flashing sign that this scene from space is like, aliens land here? You know what I mean?
It could be some kind of like portal or
Huh.
something.
And when I say portal, I don't mean
No, I
like
know.
they're walking through this
Like
thing,
you
but
okay, so these are all very different looking things.
are they?
The Susquehanna seal kind of reminds me of a little Loch Ness Nessie little
Mm.
creature, and the G Woggle is adorable.
What? Let me look him up.
There's like a
G
little poster.
Woggle.
Have you seen known as G Woggle and Clinton County's official monster?
Oh my
Artist
god!
rendering. Description: artificial werewolf creature can only be conjured or summoned by a witch. About 6 feet tall, stands on back legs, bird claws for hands, front paws, horse hooves for back feet. May be confused into trackers trying to follow it. Known for causing havoc, crop destruction, damage in tools, and petty vandalism. Last seen along Route 120 on Renovo Road. Age about 200 years old.
I love it. He's cute.
He is
We
cute.
should do him one time.
Agreed. I'm gonna let's add him to. I have a running list of topics if we ever run out of them.
The G Woggle.
Mm-hmm.
So going back down to West Virginia, so that's interesting. First of all, that like they spotted the ship that was carrying the Flatwoods Monster. Um,
So now that does dispute the whole. Were they actually seeing something right in front of them? Like, was there something that these boys saw that didn't like? Were the red lights from something else? Well, if people from two different states saw
right.
this thing traveling to when it crashes, maybe the boys actually saw it crash and the thing come out. Like,
Yeah, it was a lot closer to them than yeah. So then okay, so now
what a story.
now we're 20 miles south of Flatwoods. So back on braxtonwestvirginia.org, reportedly George and Edith Snitowski and their 18-month-old son were driving through the rural area between Clay and Braxton County on Route 4 when their car suddenly died. Mr. Snitowski attempted to restart the car, but to no avail. It was nighttime and the road was deserted. While the Snitowskis were trying to decide what to do, a foul, sulfurous smell filled the air, and their baby began to cry. A strange bright light filled the darkness, and the couple witnessed a 10-foot tall, so that's two people now, or two groups now, saying 10-foot tall.
And smell. Multiple
And
people
smell.
and this hysteria thing.
Yeah. So 10-foot tall creature hovering in front of their car. The description is similar to the original sighting, except the monster was not wearing what's presumed to be its spade-shaped hood. So maybe it's like, shit, I need a disguise. Let me get rid of this. So instead, its head was reportedly reptilian and bony. The creature dragged its lizard-like hand across the hood, which would make sense about the claws.
Again, you can't use that with an owl then, because an owl's not doing that.
Right. Because an owl can't like walk. Like it has to like, don't birds hop? Like they don't actually like walk, right? The creature dragged its lizard-like hand across the hood of the car before drifting away into the woods. That's another thing, is they like both encounters kind of sound like when the monster moves, it glides or it like drifts. Like it's
Right.
not actually like walking. As soon as the monster was out of sight, the car restarted and sped away. Snatowski would later give his account for Mail magazine in 1955. So, but these stories have become an eerie folktale, creating a fascinating culture in the small towns around the country, around the county. An ice cream shop called The Spot, shout out, in Flatwoods, offering a photo op with a painted iteration of the monster. A museum dedicated to the monster's story operates in the town of Sutton, a few miles south of Flatwoods. 5 huge chairs built and painted in the monster's image have been erected in the county. Although the monster has not been seen since the original incidents in 1952, its impact in the rural community has has been huge. Sometimes if you stand outside at night, you can almost feel it. Like the monster left a gift from the stars from us. It did. It's like, I need a pit stop, and then he got back in his spaceship and left.
Well, you know what? I'm reading on this other one too. It's sixredmarbles.com.
Uh-huh.
This is saying that it's also worth noting that this is not the only case of the supposed monster sighting in West Virginia. There are other similar stories from other locations within the state, some of them with a considerable amount of witnesses and even physical evidence. So even though it may be difficult to prove whether the Flatwoods Monster is real or not, it's definitely a topic that has sparked the interest of many researchers, writers, and even enthusiasts, making it a relevant topic in the realm of the unknown and paranormal. So maybe it's not coming up under Flatwood Monster because it might be called something different where
Something
different
different.
are.
Yeah.
But it is saying that it's been reported in other areas of West Virginia.
So, you know what's funny about this? We might have to take a trip there because apparently they really embrace all things paranormal. In fact, on their website, braxtonwestvirginia.org, they have an all things paranormal tab. And they said, it says, quote, Braxton County is known for the Flatwoods Monster, but that's not the only bit of strange that calls Braxton home. Uncover the weird that Braxton has to offer. Bigfoot, monsters, and ghosts. Oh my. Was Braxton County once home to a Thunderbird? Check out the report from 1907. And then the waters of Braxton are home to some of West Virginia's biggest monster fish. But under that, they have ghost towns. They have Bigfoot sightings. They have hauntings galore. And then the Flatwoods Monster.
I'm messaging my cousin who lives in West Virginia right now to find out how far he lives
How far is
Braxton.
Braxton? They have a ghost town named Willsey, Willsey, West Virginia. They said while some of the buildings and areas may appear abandoned, the land and buildings will likely still have owners, and property may be private. So we don't recommend parking or walking far from the main roads.
Some of the scariest car rides I've ever been on in my life were in West Virginia.
Right?
Seriously, their roads are so dark and twisty and narrow.
Oh my God.
The only thing that was scarier than that was the roads in Italy.
Jeez. All right. So they have two haunted locations. They have the Elk Hostel and then the Haymond House. I feel like I've heard about the Haymond House. But anyway, that's neither here or there. Look at us getting off topic.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah. Oh, planning a road trip is always fun. But then they also have Bigfoot sightings. You know, Christy would love that one. But anyway, I digress.
This is why we need the little RV for us.
Right? So, what are your thoughts? Alien, cryptid, real, not real, owl?
Well, if I had to take a guess, I think I'd probably go alien on this one.
Yeah.
If 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 it's a thing, I don't know. There's so little on this one.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. Hold on, my computer's not charging. But anyway, it's very, very weird. You know, there really is so little on this that um it's hard to make an assumption, but yeah, if I had to, I would definitely say alien. I would definitely lean towards alien. I think that would be my thing. And like I said, I think I'm ready to dive into aliens a little bit more and see
I'm
what's
actually surprised we haven't yet.
yeah, I think I might touch on aliens a little bit coming up and after we get through Christmas.
All right.
Get through
After
the
Simpsons, I'm probably going back to locations. I like my locations.
yeah. I
So,
I jump all over. It's kind of crazy. I like
yeah,
to jump.
that's right. Keeps it interesting.
But but yeah, we got some good topics coming up for the holiday season. Um and yeah, I think once the new year rolls around, I think we'll hit the I'll get into some aliens on my weeks, my rotations. Um but yeah, so many good ideas.
There is. It's so hard to not want to do everything at once.
Right. And I we can literally do like a 5 hour podcast and cover like only cover like a handful of our topic.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I just have a list I keep going with over here.
Yeah. Yes, constantly. But yeah, I think my next rotation. So you're next week, and
Next
then
week I got Simpsons.
you got
Um,
Simpsons, and
if
then
Deborah comes back, she may be doing the one that she was supposed to
the
continuing on our little New Orleans streak.
oh yeah, and then I gotta touch on haunted Vegas. Although I'm to be honest, I'd never have to go back to Vegas. it
Yeah, I've
it was a
got
fun trip, but
I'm not a gambler. I don't know if I'd
me
really
either.
like Vegas. I'd be bored after 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was a fun
I mean,
trip,
I'm sure
but
it's
it
fun
was
to do some people watching on the strip or whatever, but
yeah, but yeah,
I
it
can
was
think of 10 other places I'd rather go.
yeah. The next trip I want to take is a paranormal trip.
Yeah,
Yeah. We gotta get a RV and hit the road. If you want to sponsor us, let us know.
please.
We need a sponsor for our team and a sponsor for the podcast. That would be awesome.
We need a ghost to the coast sugar daddy.
Yes. A boo
Sugar
daddy.
mama, whatever, we'll take it. Sugar whatever.
We don't discriminate. So, well, you got anything else you want to add to this episode?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
All right. Well, There y'all have it. The Flatwoods Monster. Let us know what you think. Was it an owl or is it an alien? We want to hear from you. And remember, too, you can go right to our Facebook page and submit a paranormal experience of your own that could be featured on a listener submission episode. We want to do several of those, so just send us a story. We'd love to hear it. But yeah, well, there you have it. And until next time, y'all come back now, you hear?